Here we go.
All righty.
Hi. Good
We
evening.
are, we believe that we're live.
We're here.
Tapping through technicalities.
We
So
should be experts at all of this by now, right? I
you
mean,
you
after
would
so long.
think with all of the Facebook and
And I'm still looking
YouTube and
around when I'm on
Instagram
Zoom. Yeah.
lives that I have done, yeah, we should put this there just so that we
So you
know
know
where
where
to
to look.
look.
There you go.
Uh, hey, Joy. Let me see what. Oh, okay, there are folks on here, so
Okay, great.
we should probably start. So, hi, I'm Brad Yates,
I'm Christy Yates.
and I do tapping. And Christy is awesome, and
I do
she's
tapping
she
also.
does tapping also, and she's smarter than I am about a lot of things, and that's why I like to have her on because she corrects me or guides things in places where I may be less informed.
Well, we complement each other, but
We
so
like hanging out together.
but I do work as a school psychologist and licensed educational psychologist, and have done a lot of work in counseling, and definitely with a lot of different populations before becoming a school psych, and so have had my fair share of working with people who are experiencing a grief process or loss. Um, when we were first married, I was working at I was running a program for men and women who are homeless. Brad did a little hypnosis there for the folks. It was really great. It was really
My
powerful.
first step into personal development was leading a self esteem workshop at this
Yeah, that's really
transitional
good.
housing program for homeless folks.
But I've also been doing some work with people who are in what's called the sandwich generation. So if you've seen our live work things before, I've mentioned that. But people who are, and many of you might be in this bucket, raising your kids, even if they're adults living in your home. We have an adult that came back this weekend.
Just came back this afternoon.
Raising adults, raising children, and caring for aging parents. And right now, during this whole pandemic, it's been really hard. So I would love it if you are in this position, just shout out and say, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Because it's been so hard because people are, especially if your parents are medically fragile and you haven't been able to be around them, or if they're in a nursing home or in assisted living of some kind and you can't get to them because of all the restrictions. This has been really hard. And my mother had Alzheimer's before she passed away. And so a lot of people who have parents who have memory issues, any one of the dementias, Alzheimer's, vascular dementia, a whole host of things, you've been their lifeline, and now you might not be able to see them, and so the loss you might be feeling and the loss they might be feeling and what you're feeling on behalf of them, it's tremendous. So we just
All the different
right.
opportunities that are lost. It's obviously quite a few people have lost family members,
Right.
loved ones of the animal kind,
Right.
right at the beginning of
Yeah.
the of lockdown
In March.
in
March.
March.
Yeah.
We had just brought our daughter home from college when they had shut down the college, and 2 days later, our dog of 13 years passed
Yeah.
away.
That's
So
still a hard one.
there's that kind of loss, but also just the loss of normalcy,
Mm-hmm.
the loss of jobs, the loss of income, which has an emotional component and
Really hard.
and a financial component. So we thought that we ought to take a whole, and I
Yeah.
certainly in some of the Facebook and YouTube lives that I've done since the beginning of the pandemic, we have touched a little bit on grief, but it just seemed like we should
Yeah.
do this and focus. Patricia, I'm very
So
sorry.
yeah, very sorry for people who are, yeah, this
Oh, and
is
Rennie.
so
Oh,
tough, really tough stuff coming up in here. And wow. I do want to say at the outset, though, that Brad and I are not grief counselors. So this is not a clinical workshop. If you have any, like if you're really struggling, please reach out and get the support you need, whether that's therapy or if you are feeling really vulnerable yourself and you need to talk to someone, we've put some things up in the resources section,
Yeah, please check
including
the thing at the beginning that has a couple of books and a couple of hotlines to reach
right.
out to.
Even the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. If you need to talk to someone, that's certainly a place you can start. Really hard, and anyone who I saw someone lost someone to suicide, the Suicide Prevention Hotline can also give survivors of suicide, those people left behind, have a very difficult level of grief. It's very complicated, and please reach out, get the help you need to support yourself or your family with that kind of grief. So we wanted to kind of talk around a lot of things, but I just felt obligated to share that piece of mental health advisement for you all. Yeah.
Jacqueline, sorry.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start with some tapping. Go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. And just allowing yourself to breathe comfortably with your eyes closed. Go ahead and feel your feet on the floor or whatever part of you is connected to something. Allow yourself to feel that connection. Allow yourself to feel centered and grounded. Just allowing yourself to be right here, right now, as present as possible so as to receive maximum benefit from this hour. Just following your breath through your body. Just give yourself permission to notice where you might be feeling a sense of loss. Whether it's a big loss, like many of you mentioning family members and friends that you have lost in the last few months. And it may be still, someone wrote to me earlier when I had posted about this, that this was the anniversary. That's this time of year that's the anniversary of loss. And so, those losses linger and can be felt even more strongly right now during this time when there's more loss. So allowing yourself to just be aware of where you're feeling that. Notice the thoughts, beliefs, and memories that might be coming up. Notice where in your body you might feel that loss, how strong it might feel. Take a deep breath, open your eyes. Even though I feel this sense of loss, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I feel this sense of loss, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I feel all this sense of loss, all this grief, maybe more than I've acknowledged up till now. Because maybe part of me has said, I gotta hold it together. I'm doing fine. And I don't want to keep that bottled up. And even though I'm feeling all of this loss, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else involved, especially anyone that I've lost. All this sense of loss, all this grief, all this sadness, all this pain, all these uncomfortable feelings, all the upset that I feel. And this isn't about just getting rid of it, because I honor my feelings. Grief is a natural human emotion. And I love and appreciate myself for all of the feelings that I have. I'm just giving myself permission to process it so that I don't get stuck, so that I can keep moving forward. And I'm loving myself in the process. all this grief, all this loss, whether it's family members, friends, pets. Maybe it's the opportunities that I was looking forward to, the opportunities that I already had that are no longer available to me. And it really sucks. And maybe I haven't even allowed myself to acknowledge what I've lost, to acknowledge that I'm feeling grief. Because I don't like the idea of feeling grief. But what I resist persists. So I'm giving myself permission to acknowledge what I'm feeling, so that I can allow myself to start healing. Because I deserve to heal. The healing is possible. All this loss, I'm acknowledging it. I'm processing it. I'm allowing myself to move through it. And I am loving myself in the process. In body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. Oh my goodness, Rhonda.
Right. So lots of really
Christine. Wow.
sad
Yeah.
and really heavy stuff, and it just feels so unimaginable. How can you get through all of this? And I imagine there are people here, maybe in the comments, maybe just watching, who also might not know what to say to someone else who's experiencing loss. So what do you do? How do you say that? Sometimes we hold back and we fear acknowledging someone else.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
go ahead, keep tapping. Use this whole opportunity. I mean, I as you heard, I'm always saying tap on a daily basis, because it's just good to clearing out ambient stress, even if you're not really aware of stuff going on. Nothing's so good that it can't get better. But certainly while we have this time together and while we're discussing these things, take advantage of this chance to be clearing, to be able to process it, to be able to talk about it, and have those conversations that help us heal. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. And you know what you said at the beginning in the tapping round is, we're not going to be able to tap grief away. Grief is a process. It sometimes is a roller coaster, and I always call it a sneaky little beast. It can kind of pop up. You think you're doing fine, and then it might just show up somehow. And being able to move through it is important, because you're still here, and there are people who you love and still depend on you, and you don't have to get over it. It's going to be with you. It's learning to live with it. And one of the books that is in the links here is a book by David Kessler, who worked with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who, if you've heard anything about death and dying, she was the person who did the most research in that area. David has carried on. He worked with her. He's carried on some of that. And he added a sixth stage. There were 5 stages that Elizabeth identified. And there's been lots of research around that has grown. But you know what? He talks about finding meaning. But you know what? You'll find it when it shows up for you. And right now, it's just kind of being able to take the edge off, to be able to move through and do the next right thing that you need to do.
Yeah. So Karen mentioned the need to be strong, and let's actually, I just want to do some tapping on this. Even though I feel a need to be strong,
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I need to be strong, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I need to be strong, because even though I'm facing some loss, I know other people facing loss, and they're counting on me. And maybe I've been expected to be the rock for a long time. And even though I need to be strong, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe all these other people. All this need to be strong. All this need to be strong. And there are times where I'm afraid I don't have what it takes. And then this need to be strong is just one more burden. Like I don't have enough going on. And on top of all of my grief and loss, I've got to suck it up and be strong for other people. And that can feel like a burden. And it can lead to other uncomfortable feelings, like even resentment. How dare they expect me to be strong? And they're not trying to hurt me. They're just counting on me. All this pressure, all these expectations, all this extra burden. And I'm acknowledging myself right now for taking this time for some self-care. Because that's so important. I need to take time for self-care. I have more strength than I know. And as I practice self-care, I have more access to that strength. But I'm giving myself permission to set boundaries where I need to not sacrifice myself like this, telling myself that my needs don't matter. Because that ultimately doesn't serve other people. I can't write a check to charity if I don't make a deposit first. So I need to take care of myself. And that will allow me to be as strong as I can be, while still sustaining myself. I'm giving myself permission to take care of myself. And I love and appreciate those people who have so much faith in me. I'm willing to take the compliment. And I'm allowing myself to take care of myself. In body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath.
I hope. Yes, I'm his wife. And so that looked like that was a good one. People are definitely feeling, I'm so glad to hear some of these things, people feeling like they can really get support through tapping.
And remember that if you have something to
well, I know, I was thinking,
tap through, because I'm going to have what I think.
I know.
Because Christy's also certified. Well, also, I'm not certified in EFT. She's certified.
But yeah.
Yeah. I'm certifiable. She's certified. So please.
Well, and another thing that comes up sometimes, like even reading these comments, it's some of you are going through such just unimaginable grief and loss, and yet, um, I said, what do you do when you're around people who are going through grief? But also, I know this actually September will be 5 years since I lost my mother, and I lost my mother and father 7 weeks apart.
7 weeks apart in
So
2015.
yeah, in 2015. So this is now 5 years after that, and so I know how hard that was for me, and yet there were times when I felt bad for feeling good. There were times when I felt like I'm supposed to be sad. Like, what's the time period, right? And here I am feeling okay, and it would shock me. So that's the other thing, is that you're allowed to feel whatever you feel. You're permitted.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay that you're not okay, and it's okay that you're okay. And then interacting with other people who have grief, when you say, gosh, I don't know what to say, but I care about you and I'm so sorry. There might be tears, and you didn't cause them. Those tears are there. When anytime somebody said something to me, even if they didn't know what to say, sometimes people would say, I don't even know what to say. And I said, that's okay. That's enough. Thanks for just acknowledging that I'm here and that I'm going through something. But I don't want to make you cry. I'm like, hey, you didn't make me cry. Those tears are right here the whole time. So thank you for letting me let them out, and you're being welcoming of my experience. So I want to do a round on that, about allowing yourself to feel everything that you feel. It's okay.
Yeah.
So
Do you want to leave that?
I'll try. You jump in, and Brad has such flair that okay.
She still has her training wheels on, but
even though even though I'm all right. Even though I'm experiencing all kinds of emotions, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel guilty for feeling other feelings besides sadness, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I'm feeling a lot of feelings, big feelings, I feel overwhelmed, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. So all these feelings washing over me, too much to bear sometimes. I feel guilty for being happy. Sometimes I feel guilty for smiling and laughing. I'm supposed to be sad, right? I'm supposed to be sad.
Shitting on yourself.
Am I doing this grief right? Am I doing this right? Is there something wrong with me? Even though sometimes I can't even wake up in the morning and get out of bed. Even though sometimes my feelings are all over the place in the course of one day. And even though there are times when somebody asks me how I'm feeling, I don't know what to say. I just know I'm not okay. And I just don't feel okay. And I can't get control of my feelings. It feels like my feelings are controlling me. It feels like my feelings are controlling me. And that's okay. I'm allowed to feel all my feelings. I'm allowed to feel all my feelings. Anything I feel is valid. Everything I feel is right. And it doesn't mean I didn't love someone, even when I feel joy. I'm giving myself permission to feel all my feelings. Giving myself permission to allow myself to move through these feelings. I'm allowing myself to feel all my feelings. It's all right if I don't know what I'm feeling from one day to the next. It's okay if it feels like a roller coaster sometimes. There's no right way to grieve. I'm just going to do what I can to take care of myself. And I'm going to take one moment at a time, one feeling at a time. And I'm going to take care of myself one moment at a time. In body, mind, and spirit.
Body, mind. Take a deep breath. I want to jump on that because there were some things that you said.
Okay,
Yeah,
good,
and
yeah.
I'm going to, I'll bring that up too. Even though I'm afraid I'll get it wrong, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I'm afraid I'm doing it wrong, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I'm afraid I'm doing it wrong, whether it's how I'm handling my own grief or how I'm handling somebody else's grief. As if it wasn't enough to deal with the grief, I'm also worrying about not getting it right. And even though I'm afraid I'll get it wrong, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else involved in this, including all those people who might be shooting on me, telling me how I should be handling these situations. All this fear of getting it wrong. All this fear that I'm doing it wrong. All this fear that I'm too sad. All this fear that I'm not sad enough. All this fear of what I'm going to say to somebody else. All this fear that I'm going to make it worse for them. All this fear that I'll fail somebody. All this fear that I'm failing myself. All this fear that I failed the person I lost. And all the regrets that I might have. All these fears of getting it wrong. And even with the grief over lost jobs, lost money, I'm really afraid I'm going to get that wrong. And if people I know have lost things like that, I'm afraid I'm going to get it wrong talking to them. All this expectation to be perfect. All this fear of screwing up. I choose to let that fear go. Because I can handle screwing up. If I've made it this far, I've probably gotten something wrong at some point in my life. And somehow I survived that. And I'll survive it again. So I choose to move through that fear. Letting that fear go. I'm doing the best I can with the programming that I have. And I'm going to continue doing the best I can. And my best is always getting better. And I choose to love and forgive myself right where I'm at. And as I allow myself to process these feelings, I can allow myself to stop manifesting these feelings as physical symptoms. As I hold on to these uncomfortable feelings, they can come out in physical ways. I might feel pain in different parts of my body. I might feel a lot of fatigue. Because grief is exhausting.
I might feel a lot of anger and irritability. I might snap at people I work with or who I know. And had to throw that one in.
No, that's great. Yeah, all this anger and resentment. It's even possible that I feel anger towards anyone that I've lost.
Mm-hmm.
How dare they leave me at a time like this? Oh, but I can't say that. Now, on top of all my grief, I have to feel guilt about feeling anger. All these different feelings I'm going through.
I might feel guilt at feeling relief. My loved one was suffering for a long time, and I feel some relief. And now I might feel guilty about that. How could I say I love them if I feel relief?
What did I do or not do that I might blame myself for?
Mm-hmm.
All this blame I might be feeling. And I'm moving through that. Because I have a right to move through that. And while I honor my feelings, and I'm not shooting on myself about how I should be feeling and how quickly I should recover, I am allowing myself to process this. Because my suffering doesn't help anyone. That's not to say that my suffering is harming anyone, such that I need to stuff down my feelings. I'm just giving myself permission to feel what I feel, including if that's relief, and moving towards joy. I can't change anything that's happened by feeling worse about it. I can't feel bad enough to bring a loved one back or to make up for lost time. Can't feel bad enough to bring back a job opportunity. Or money that I've lost. or anything that I've lost. I'm honoring my feelings. It's okay that I'm feeling whatever I'm feeling. I'm just not going to insist that I have to feel that I have an obligation to suffer, that it's my duty to suffer. I don't owe it to anyone to suffer. I don't owe it to anyone to heal faster. I'm just giving myself permission to move towards recovery, to allow healing, to go through whatever process I need to go through. And I'm loving myself in the process, in body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath.
Sometimes it does feel like we have to have a certain amount. Like if I really am feeling loss and grief, then there's an equation, right? It's this number of days of pain and suffering, and it's not an equal equation, and everyone's different.
That's true of, and it's true of any uncomfortable feeling that
I
we
can't
have.
feel bad enough to make it right.
Yeah, it's like we have this rule book, and it's a different rule book for everybody
Yeah.
as to how many days. It's like, okay, how long do you need to suffer because of the loss of a relationship? How long do you need to suffer over the loss of a job? How long do you need to suffer over? It's like, 3 weeks and 2 days. Okay, so 3 weeks. Put that on my calendar. 3 weeks and 2 days from now, I'll feel fine. It's different for everyone, and there's no one right way to grieve, no one right amount of time that to have that process, and just allowing yourself to go, okay, I'm going to do this the best I can.
And some of the physical symptoms I notice, like the fatigue and the brain fog. And I mentioned irritability. Like being irritable was that was really common for me. And I went back to work, and just everything annoyed me. And but I couldn't be at home anymore. That was driving me crazy too. And it's a process. And so to be gentle with yourself, I definitely am.
Be gentle with yourself.
I'm glad we did something on this. So grief, what other things does grief manifest? And yeah, sometimes it can come out in physical symptoms, headaches, obviously stomach problems, but backaches and just fatigue. That's common for grief and depression and other somatic ailments. And so it is important to recognize that you're even connecting that those might be related is another way to start moving towards, addressing those. Yeah.
In case we haven't mentioned it, we're both proponents of self-care. So, and looking for those signs, and a lot of these are just signs of maybe I need to practice self-care. Maybe I haven't. Maybe I'm worrying too much about being strong for others, and I'm not, putting a deposit in my own account before. Before trying to write a check to charity. A long comment from me.
Okay.
Keep tapping.
So we're talking about, somatic, lots of grief and dentist. Yeah. So there's all kinds of loss that people are experiencing, and taking care of yourself is really the first part of it.
And that, yes, being around other people can be draining, particularly certain people. And that's why I mentioned in the earlier round about setting boundaries. And we need to give ourselves permission to set boundaries, and acknowledge that some people might not be okay with that.
Right.
They might say, no, you're not allowed to set that boundary. You're not allowed to not be here for me. And you need to take care of yourself.
One of the hardest things about being a sandwich generation parent is you're also caring about your kids who are also going through their own grief process. And they're watching, if they're old enough, they're watching you, and they don't want to be a burden for you either. Oh, my mom, a teenager, my mom is really upset, and they're upset too. It's their grandparent they lost, or a loved one they lost, and there's this conflict inside of yourself about how do I take care. And it's okay to reach out and find support for your child too. Um, let your neighbors know, my kid might need a sleepover. I mean, obviously right now, COVID, where maybe not, but a couple Zoom calls, get those in,
Yes.
reaching out to school staff and letting them know my child might be really needing something right now. I'm doing everything I can to take care of myself, but a little extra for them would be really helpful. And so, ask for help.
Yes.
Ask for help and get the help you need to do that.
All
And
this fear of being a burden on other people.
That's okay. Right, yeah.
Because other people are expecting me to be strong,
Mm-hmm.
and I resent them for putting that burden on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that can stop me from asking for help. Giving myself permission to ask for help. And other people might need to set boundaries for themselves. And if they say no, I say next. Because there's going to be somebody out there who can help me.
Yeah. People want to help.
I don't have to do this all on my own. There may be someone out there who's waiting for the opportunity to be of service to me. And Christine mentioned the loss of an abusive parent, and that goes along with something Christine mentioned earlier about a possible sense of relief.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guilty feeling about that sense of relief, and just allowing yourself to honor whatever feelings come up. And some of it's going to be really complicated. There may be all kinds of sadness mixed with all kinds of relief. And there may be people that we lose, and there's a part that goes, good riddance. And allowing ourselves to process that. Allowing ourselves to see, okay, what's lingering in me that is there? And maybe this is an opportunity now to do some healing that's long overdue. And again, always looking for where are the opportunities where I can take care of myself and allow myself to move to a place where I feel better.
In the resources, there's also, I think it's Very Well Mind. We put a link to Very Well Mind. There are online bereavement support groups. Sometimes no one is going to experience exactly what you've experienced. But being in the presence of other people who know loss is just sometimes a very healing experience, and you can hear how other people feel and how they move along. So I would recommend that for folks too, about finding ways to support themselves, and you can introduce them to tapping. So there you go. But yeah.
And one of the things in talking to other people is we human beings, we love to play the comparison game. And sometimes we will listen to what someone else says and go, that's nothing. Let me tell you what I've lost. Or we might hear what someone else lost and think, oh, how can I be feeling so bad? Because what I'm going through is nothing compared to them. And so David Kessler, who wrote one of the books in the resources, was talking about how someone asked him about the loss of his son and how it compared to something else, and is that worse than this? And he said, the worst grief is the one that you're feeling.
Yeah. Pain is pain.
It's, so if you have lost a job and then you talk to somebody who's lost 2 family members and you think, oh, boy, I have no right to feel bad about this. It's like, no.
You have every right to feel what you're feeling all the time.
Any loss is, give yourself permission to experience the grief so that you can move through it, because what we resist persists. And if we try to pretend that it's not there, that has consequences.
Good. Somebody's adding another thing. That's great. Good. So,
Great. Thank you, Kimberly. Kimberly also has some videos on grief. So,
okay.
and one of the other things that, so one of the books
Mm-hmm.
for David Kessler up there is about finding meaning.
Right.
And one of the, it's a very healing component to the grief process is to find meaning. And he's very clear to say that's not about finding meaning in the person's death or the loss of the job or whatever it is that you've lost. It's not a, so why did this happen? Was God just
Meant to
pissed off
happen.
at me, or am I being punished, or
Mm-hmm.
what does it mean that this happened? It's about finding meaning. Yes, Andrea.
Yeah.
The worst grief is the one you were feeling.
Exactly.
And it's finding it's allowing yourself to have a meaningful experience as you go through this, because we're all going to experience loss at some point in time in our lives. There are people, unless the longer we're here, the more people we know that we're going to lose. And if we're still here, that's because we're meant to be here and we still have something to do, and we can find something meaningful in our process of how did I deal with this? What have I learned? How do I grow? And that's not a should. I'm not shoulding on you. You should find some meaning in
Well,
this.
and there's no right answer to
Yeah.
that meaning.
Yeah.
We find it. It's our meaning. And just like pain is pain, the grief you're feeling is the hardest one. Your meaning is your meaning. And you make sense of it.
And maybe it's just allowing yourself to have that feeling of, okay, at some point I choose to feel good that I can possibly move to some place of meaning where I will be able to take this pain and transmute it into something positive. And again, not shooting on you and saying, "Come on, you should feel good about what the good outcome of this is."
Yeah.
Not at all. It's just it's sort of a message of hope, knowing that so many people have had that, and for David Kessler talking about losing his son, and someone said, you should feel bad that you lost him so young, and he said, I allow myself to feel good that I had all that time
For
with
as long
him.
as I had him, right?
And we never know how long we're supposed to have, again, any of these things, whether it's a loved one or an opportunity, a job, and it's not a matter of, oh, well, it wasn't meant to be there, or that. It's a matter of looking and saying, okay, but I had that opportunity, and I can, particularly if there's something positive that you really do feel loss over, allow yourself to say, well, hey, at least I had that, at least for some time in my life, or had that person in my life, and I had those memories and things like that.
So I would like to do a round on the pressure we put on ourselves, because we're talking about comparing, and that seems to be something that I think is very hard for people, always moving through. So maybe we can do a round on, even though it's that shoulding around. I other people have it worse and that kind of thing. And so I think that might be one that we can do a quick round on. So even though I feel I shouldn't feel as bad as others, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I feel others have it a lot worse than me, so why do I feel so bad? And I feel bad about that. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. I'm not setting this up real great, so give me another one. Even though I feel myself comparing my grief to others, and I keep coming up short, like I shouldn't feel so bad, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. all this feeling that I shouldn't feel so bad. Other people have gone through a lot worse than me. Other people have lost so much more than I have. I'm still alive, and maybe I shouldn't be, because no one else survived.
All this guilt and shame.
All this guilt and shame over being here.
Guilt and shame about my responses.
I should be feeling a lot worse. Or I shouldn't feel so bad at all, because other people have it a lot worse than me. Am I just some kind of big old baby? Why can't I just grow up and deal with it? How can I take this so hard? I shouldn't be feeling so sorry for myself or feeling so sad when other people have so much more to grieve about. Or maybe I'm the one left behind and other people are not here. And I feel guilty about that. I feel guilty about being the one left behind. All these shoulds. Letting go of all the shoulds.
Not shoulding on myself.
Not should.
And not letting other people should on me.
And I'm not going to should on anyone.
Amen.
Letting go of the shoulds. Letting go of the guilt.
I'm also letting go of this feeling that things should be different. That it shouldn't be this way. Because that causes me a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
As Byron Katie says, when I fight reality, reality wins. But only 100% of the time. And I cause myself a lot of pain by saying it should be different. All these people that I'm missing, my family members that I'm not able to see, and I feel that that should be different. I'm allowing myself to accept what's going on.
And allowing myself not to feel cheated. I haven't been cheated. Letting go of the feeling of being cheated.
And I have a right to feel that. Mm-hmm. I also have a right to feel peace. Mm-hmm. And I'm allowing myself to feel peace in body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. And I have cut that one short, but we only have a few more minutes, and I always like to end sessions with a guided imagery just because it can be such a healing, nurturing process, especially at the end of some intense tapping on some really intense stuff. And obviously we've only covered, just so much, and there are a lot of resources out there. We've listed a few, and thank you to the folks who have listed some of the other resources that are out there. There's obviously a lot that can be done there, and it's giving yourself permission to access those resources, to take care of yourself, to say, yeah, you know what, I have these feelings, and I deserve to practice some self-care.
And the thing is that I think you said this at one point. You can't get through life without some loss. It's just part of what happens, right? It's no surprise, right? We're born, and then At some point, we're no longer here, and that will happen to our friends, our family, our parents. And so, we're all
Apparently,
gonna.
loss should happen because it does, over and over and over.
So it's, but we don't talk as a culture. We don't always talk about this a lot, and we have so many bugaboos about talking about it. And so I think being able to talk about it, and that was one of the other reasons we wanted to be able to put this out here, is because so many people are feeling so many levels of loss, that being able to talk about grief and all of the complicated feelings that come around grief and loss, and being able to talk about them more and tapping through that, um, can move us to the next place. But there's still, such a stigma against talking about it, I think. So,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Jacqueline, the resources are listed in the description box at the top of this.
Look right below the title of the Facebook Live post, and then you'll find them.
And then skimming through the comments, you'll see some of the resources that other people have left. So let's close out with some guided imagery. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. And I will probably go over the hour. So if you have someplace you have to be at the top of the hour, you can always feel free to jump off the line and catch and come back and listen to the replay, because this replay will be here right after this. So go ahead and get yourself comfortable. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. Another deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Third deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Now, just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed. Breathing comfortably, and just imagine that with each breath you take in, you breathe in relaxation and a positive energy. Go ahead and imagine a healing light of whatever color you like surrounding your body, so that with each breath you take in, your lungs comfortably draw in that healing light, allowing it to flow through every muscle, nerve, fiber, tissue, cell, and atom of your body. Imagine a healing shower flowing down crystal clear water that's a perfect temperature as it flows over the top of your head, soothing and relaxing your scalp, washing away fear, doubt, anxiety, washing away anger, sadness, guilt, shame, washing away pain, frustration, disappointment, embarrassment. Washing these away to reveal the light that you truly are, this unique expression of divine light and love. Allowing more and more of that light to be revealed as that healing shower flows over your forehead, relaxing the muscles in your face, flowing down over the back of your head, your neck, your shoulders, washing away tension, leaving your shoulders calm, comfortable, and relaxed. Healing shower flowing down your arms, all the way down over your fingertips, down over your chest and your stomach, soothing and relaxing, healing and cleansing. Allowing yourself to remain comfortably in whatever position you choose. Allow that healing shower to flow down over your upper and lower back. And as your torso relaxes, your internal organs comfortably do whatever they need to do to achieve and maintain your optimal level of health and well-being in body, mind, and spirit. As that healing shower continues down over your body, down over your hips and your thighs, over your knees, down your lower legs, through your ankles, into your feet. And finally, that relaxation flows over your toes as you allow yourself to relax twice as much, going at least twice as deep with each number as I count backwards. 5, drifting down to 4, floating down to 3, 2, 1. And 0 is deep sleep. Now, each and every time you hear me say the words deep sleep with your permission, and only with your permission, you allow yourself to return to this depth, or even deeper, 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 quickly, soundly, deeply, and the physical body relaxes And with that relaxation comes a wonderful sense of calm well-being of body and mind, deeper, deeper. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 0 is deep sleep. And in this calm, comfortable state of mind and body, I'd like you to imagine yourself in some beautiful place. Perhaps some beautiful place in nature, like in the woods or at the beach. Some place where you allow yourself to see the beauty, the magnificence of creation. Giving yourself permission to see that there are still a lot of really good things in this world. There's still abundance out there, there's still beauty, and it is here for you. Because you could go out someplace and see something beautiful. The universe wants you to have good things. In fact, right now, with each breath you take, the universe is delivering oxygen to you. So allow yourself to acknowledge that continued evidence that the universe finds you worthy and deserving of good things. And allow yourself to be out in this beautiful place. And you may be looking at some particular thing of beauty. Maybe it's a perfect rose in the garden, or a particular tree, or something that you're seeing. And now allow yourself to turn your gaze so that you are no longer seeing that. There may be a sense of loss of seeing that, but wherever you turn your gaze, there are other good things to see. And it doesn't take away from the beauty or the joy or whatever was good about what you were looking at before. It doesn't dismiss that. Just allowing yourself to give yourself permission to notice that there are still good things, and it is okay for you to experience them. You don't need to rush that. Honor your feelings and allow yourself to experience peace, joy, love. Allow yourself to feel that there's a lot of love for you here. Even though some of us are having to be very much alone, allow yourself to feel the collective love. Everything is energy. We are connected to everything. And energy cannot be destroyed, so even those things that we feel that we've lost, that energy is still there, and allow yourself to take comfort in that. Allow yourself to take comfort in anything that you find could give you comfort, because you're worthy and deserving of that. Allowing yourself to, again, take in the beauty all around. Giving yourself permission to feel as much peace as possible as we go even deeper now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 0 is deep sleep. In a moment, I'll count you back out from 0 up to 5. 5 will be wide awake, alert, focused, and energetic. Feeling much better than before. With a greater sense of peace, with a greater sense of being able to move forward. Giving yourself more permission to take care of yourself, to practice self-care, honoring your feelings, and giving yourself permission to move forward. Tonight, when you choose to go to sleep, don't be surprised when you fall asleep quickly, soundly, deeply, and sleep very well through the night. During the night, you'll dream. The more you dream, the stronger you become. I'm going to ask your unconscious mind to allow at least one of your dreams to be a very healing dream. Continuing this healing process in body, mind, and spirit so that in the morning, at the time you've chosen to wake up, you wake up easily, feeling refreshed, energetic, and ready to start the day again, powerfully moving forward into that ever more joyful experience of an ever greater abundance of health, wealth, happiness, and love, which are your birthright and which benefit others. Now go back down to 0, which is always deep sleep, allowing your mind, body, and spirit to digest all these positive thoughts and feelings, allowing the positive changes to occur naturally, effortlessly. Coming up to 1, feeling physically relaxed. 2, feeling emotionally calm and confident. 3, health and well-being, enthusiasm, love, joy, gratitude flowing through every muscle, nerve, fiber, tissue, cell, and atom of your body. 4, becoming more and more alert and aware of your surroundings. And 5 is eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake, and welcome back. So thank you guys very much for joining us for this. Elena, thank you for that suggestion, The Shack. We read that
Yeah.
many years ago. Powerful book. And in terms of tapping around on being alone, I've done a number of Facebook and YouTube lives around a number of the different subjects that have caused people pain during the pandemic. And I've also sort of curated some of my previous tapping videos and created some new tapping videos that were specific to the situation, including being alone, having to shelter alone, and feeling that loneliness. So you can find that in a playlist called Tapping Through Crisis on YouTube.
That's great.
And you can find that at tapwithbrad.com/crisis. And there's a lot of videos that might help you. And there are, I think my videos on grief are in there, but there's also one in there definitely about feeling alone. So that's another resource. I'll put that too. So
thank you so much. And the comments have been really, I'm so grateful that people were willing to share so much, and your pain and your grief and your loss. And I'm glad that it was working for some people. I see a lot of thank yous, and I appreciate that it has helped you. And thanks for showing up, just being out there and doing this.
Yeah, so that we don't have to sit here by ourselves. And so grateful for you guys. Love you guys. Take care, and tap with you soon.
Bye-bye.